Good morning, Predicted Trades family. Hope everybody's doing well. It's finally Friday, March 24th. Real quick, let me pull up our economic calendar so we can take a quick look and see what we got for today. We got through FOMC, we got through jobless claims yesterday. Today we have a little durable goods at 8:30, so we'll potentially see a little reaction here. And then we have our Fed speakers. Bullard at 9:30. We have some flash PMI at 9:45. Looking at next week, we have a little bit on Tuesday with some retail, trade data, wholesale, and some home data. Same on Wednesday, a little home data at 10 a.m. And then the big one on Thursday is GDP which will be a reflection of how is inflation doing. And then we have personal income, PCE, all next Friday. And it's the end of the month next Friday. And we'll be kicking off into a new earnings season. So, quick review of yesterday. We had that push in the morning, right back up to the daily 50. As we were having that push, I talked about how it's a balancing rally. You know, we sold off and lost the daily 50 on FOMC. We fight back up to balance, and then that's where we locked up our longs yesterday, called out some shorts that went about 10x, called out shorts from 40.38. High was 40.39.5. It got down to 39.53. So about like an 80-point drop. We can see overnight we've drifted a hair lower and down to this key level, 39.41, and the daily 200, which sits at 39.45. We did slip it just a little bit. So basically 39.35, 39.40 is our support. If we start to lose that this morning, we want to target 39.22 and 3900, big key level. We'll be firing a 4-hour squeeze down if that happens. But if we can hold that 40.35, 40.41, 40.35, geez Louise, 39.35, 39.41, we can hold that little zone and start to reverse back up and reclaim above 39.50. That opens up the door to fight back to 39.70 where the daily 8 sits, 39.83 where the daily 21 sits, and 39.96 where we kind of topped out overnight. Should we clear that 39.96 4,000, it's back to 420 and the daily 50 back up at the top of the 2-hour squeeze. Even though they're thin, you know, we have a 2-hour, 4-hour squeeze down here trying to provide support where we could reverse back up to test the other end of that squeeze. And if we just kind of take a look at the last couple of weeks, you know, we have where we held here at 39.33. We dipped below it on a Monday overnight and then right back above it, kind of creating a inverse head and shoulders. Well, we're back at that shoulder. So we could hold right at this zone. In fact, here, we'll just draw it from this low and we'll just park it right there. Move this on over. There we go. So we're back at that shoulder. If the shoulder gives out, we want to target down to the head at 3,900. But if we can hold that shoulder, then it's back up through the daily moving averages, back up to 4,000, maybe even that 40-20. So we've got our targets down, targets up. Looks like the data that dropped at 8:30 was pretty small, or no reaction. As we look at NQ, holding up a little better. You know, NQ's been very strong. Tech's been leading the upside. And as you can see, we sold off down to this 12,690, 12,700 on FOMC. Yesterday, we sold off but held higher at that daily Keltner, 12,730. So, this morning, it's all about can we hold yesterday's low and the overnight low. You can also draw a little zone of support there. Basically just add a day or two, and there you go. So on NQ, it's all about can we hold this zone around 750, 735. We can hold there and reverse back above to claim 12,800, then it's a fight back up to 900 and 13,000, where we've topped out the last 2 days. If we start to lose this zone of support, go below yesterday's low at around 735, then we want to target down to that 700, the 676 daily 8 in the middle, or at the bottom of this squeeze. And if we start to lose that daily 8, we want to target back to 12,600, 550, these recent lows. Past that, the daily 21, daily 15 sit down at 450. So if selling is going to continue on all indices today, NQ could finally start to give up and get a reversion to the mean, which would be getting down to this 450. But if we can hold up here, it's a fight to try to get back to 800, 900, and 13,000. Now the Ruddy, definitely one of the weaker names, and why we are looking weaker on ES this morning. Ruddy has a big key level at 1700. So let's see, it's probably going to, early in the morning, drop down to test this 1700. And we want to see it hold there. If we start to lose that 1700 on Ruddy, the target is down to 1656. And that'll mean all of the indices are rolling over, NQ will be giving up that support we just reviewed and starting a reversion to the mean process. But if Ruddy can hold up at 1700 and start to reverse back over 1720, then it's going to be showing the signs that it's had enough selling, it's ready to try to reverse back up with the other indices that are remaining stronger. If we can get back above 720, then it's 1720, then it's back to 1740, 1760 where the daily 8 sits, yesterday's high near 1775. YM made it back to 32,000. So right now, we still have we have a similar shoulder line here, right at 950. It's where we bounced, and we're getting back above 32,000. So it's all about, can we hold pre-market low 31,950, that 32,000, and start to reverse back above 32,100. Then it opens up the door to get up to 200 and 400, where we kind of topped out on the bounce late yesterday and overnight. We have our moving averages above, so let's see if we can hold that 950, 32,000. If we start to lose it, back to 31,800, 31,600, down at the bottom of this daily squeeze and near those recent lows. Apple. So just like in Q, Apple's holding up very well. Basically today, want to see it hold 157.5, 158. That's the support from the last few days. We start to give that out, it'll be down to 156.5, where this daily 8 sits, and then back down to this zone around 155, 154, where our daily 15, daily 21 will be catching up to. So either we hold up these squeeze bottoms and push back up above 160, up to 162, or we're going to lose our support, lose that 157.5, 157, come down to 156, and then 155, 154. AMD, another very strong name, holding up very well. So this morning it's all about, can we hold this 99.25, yesterday's low around 98.70, let's call it. So can we hold that little zone and reverse back above 100 and fight to 101, 102, and 103. If we start to lose 99, 98.5, then we'll be coming down to 98, 96, and 95, where the daily 8 sits. Amazon, also been decent and strong and holding above its daily moving averages. On Amazon, it's all about 97.5, 98. If we can hold there and reverse back up to reclaim 99, then it's a play up to 100, 101, 102, where we topped out, 103.5, where that next Keltner sits. And if we start to lose 97.5, where this daily 50 sits. We have the daily 21 just a hair below at 96.5. The daily 15 down at 96. So, we could slip down to 96 and still stay in these squeezes. We start to lose 96. We want to play back to 93.25, where that first Keltner sits to the downside. And then down to 90 at the bottom of the daily squeeze, where the second Keltner sits. Google. Definitely one of the stronger names. Barely even pulled back yesterday. Base that it set late in the day. Around 104.5, 105. So it's all about, can we hold the bottom of that 30-minute squeeze? Basically hold around 104.5. If we can hold and get back above 105, it's a play to 106, 107.5, maybe even up to like 110, but we are, if we get to 107.5, we'll be at third Keltner on the daily. If we start to lose that 104, it's a play back to 103, 101, where the daily 200, daily 8 sit, psych level 100, and the daily 21 will be sitting right at about 98. Meta. Living life above 200. Support for today is around yesterday's low near 200, overnight low near 202 was yesterday's low, just about. Overnight low around 202.5. So there's your support, as long as we can hold that. Looking to push up to yesterday's high around 207.5-ish. And then fight up to 210, 211, where the third Keltner sits, 212, a big level. But if we start to lose 205 and we can't hold 202.5, 202, then we're going to come back to 200, 198, and 196 at the bottom of the 4-hour squeeze. Microsoft. During the cast session has done a really good job holding above 275, so that's where our support is. As long as we can try to hold that 275, 274.5 at the bottom of these 30-minute 1-hour squeezes. It's a play back up to 280, kind of where we topped out yesterday, 281, up to recent high of 283, and the next Keltner up at 286. But if we start to lose 275, and we're likely coming back to 272.5, 271 where the daily 8 sits, 270 psych level, and 266, I call it 267 at the bottom of the 4-hour squeeze. All right, Netflix. Big old reaction yesterday. I saw that there were some rumors about a potential partnership with Apple, but it's just rumors right now. We have this range that was set, the high yesterday around 322.75, then it pulled back to the daily 21 at 312. So that is a wide range that's likely going to contain us today. Let's see if we can find support near this pre-market low of 317.5. If we can hold there, it could be a play early up to that 322.5 with an attempt to try to get to 324, 327.5 up at the top of the daily squeeze. But if we start to lose that 317.5, we want to play back to 315, 312, where we bounced late in the day at the daily 21. If we lose 312, it's 310, 307, 306, where the daily 8 sits. NVIDIA. Doing a good job holding above 265, 267. So that's a 2-point zone of support. As long as we can hold that 267, and I even accept down to 265, that's where we sold off to when FOMC dropped. But as long as we hold that zone, it's a play back up above 270, 273, 275, and if we can carry more, up to 280. We start to lose 265, then it's a play back to 262.5 at the bottom of the 4-hour squeeze, 260, 259 where the daily 8 will be sitting. And that'll probably be the extent for today. But looking into next week, if we start to lose that 258, that daily 8, then it will be a play back to 250 and these 15 daily 21s sitting below 250. But that would probably be next week. It'll take a couple of days to complete that journey. QQQ. Yesterday's lows around 307, pre-market lows around 307.5, so you got a 50-cent zone of support in the bottom of a 1-hour squeeze. As long as we can hold that support, it's a play back up to 309.5. You can see we held that during the Asian session last night before getting below it. So it's a play up to that 309.5, 310, and if we can push more, back up to this 311.5, 312. And anything past that, it'll be the highs from yesterday and the day before, around 314, 315. If we start to lose that 307, 307.5, we want to play back down to 305 at the bottom of the 4-hour squeeze. SPY. All about 390 this morning. If we lose 390, we're going to go to that 388.5, which is technically that neckline. If we look left, we held 388.5, dipped under it on an overnight, haven't been back since. So 390 would be nice to hold early. More likely we're probably going to get to that 388.5 before a reversal. We'll see. If we start to lose that 388.5, we want to play back down to 386, 384, and this zone at 381.5, 380 at the bottom of the daily squeeze. And even if we have more selling today, I'm not saying we necessarily get there. That'd be some pretty hard selling to drop, 8 points. If we can hold 390 or this 388.5 and get back above 390, it's play back up to 392.5, 393.5, 395, 397, and where we topped out yesterday around 399. Tesla. Close around 192, little gap down, trying to hold above yesterday's low, above this daily 8, daily 21, which sit at 187.5, 188. So if Tesla is weak early, it could be a dip to that 188, 187.5, tap those daily moving averages and the bottom of this squeeze before turning back around. If we can reclaim back above 192, it'll be a play up to 195, kind of where we topped out overnight. And if we can clear 195, it'll be up to 197.5, 200. If we start to give out that daily 21, 187.5, we want to play down to 185, and then 180 where the daily 50 is catching up. And VIX. Coming right back up to this 24.5, not surprising at all. You can see that's where we topped out yesterday. So, for upside in the market, I want to see VIX stay below 25, 24.5, and start to make the journey back down to 22.5 where the daily 21 sits, maybe even down to 2072 where the daily 50 sits near yesterday's lows. But the big key target would be getting back to 22.5, basically filling this gap up since we closed right near that 22.5. But if we're going to see more selling, we're likely going to stay above 24 where the daily 200 sits, get back above 25 where we topped out pre-market, and make a push back up to 26, 27. That would be if we're selling off on ES and getting back to something like 3,900. So that's it for prep today. Hopefully everybody found this helpful. We covered what to watch on all the key names, even VIX. So keep a big eye on ES at this zone. Ruddy at 1,700. SPY at that 388.5. These are all things we need to see hold today and see some strong bounces to nudge us back in an upward direction. And if we're going to keep selling, we have our targets. So that's it for prep today. Hopefully this is helpful for everybody. Good luck. It's a Friday. Size down. Have fun. Don't try to make or break your week on a Friday. And I will see all of you in the chat.